first graders, it's Mrs. Martin. I'm going to try something and I hope you can see it. I'm going to video my computer screen. And I will share this link with you too, but I wanted to just talk about the water cycle. I know that you did a little bit of a song about the water cycle. So I wanted to just talk about some more things, and then I'll have an activity for you to work on. So I'm going to start here. It says, run and get a glass of water and put it on the table next to you. Take a good long look at the water. Now, can you guess how old it is? I want to hear your voices. What do you think? How old is that water? All right, here we go. The water in your glass may have fallen from the sky as rain just last week, but the water itself has been around pretty much as long as the earth has, 4 billion years. When the first fish crawled out of the ocean onto the land, your glass of water was part of that ocean. When the brontosaurus walked through lakes feeding on plants, your glass of water was part of those lakes. When kings and princesses and knights and squires took a drink from their wells, your glass of water was part of those wells. And you thought your parents were old. That's funny. I like that part. Here's what I want you to think about. So all the water that we have ever had goes through the water cycle. And this is exactly what we were talking about with the song. The earth has a limited amount of water. That water keeps going round and round and round and around, well, you get the idea, in what we call the water cycle. The cycle is made up of a few main parts: evaporation and transpiration, condensation, and then precipitation, and finally collection. So I'm going to talk about this a little bit. So collection is all the water that is on the earth, and the sun comes out and heats the water, and it turns from a liquid, boys and girls, we all know that, to a gas, and that's called evaporation. Then it goes up in the sky, and as it goes in the sky, it cools back down into water. So this is water vapor, evaporation. It cools back down into water droplets, goes back to a liquid. And that's, water loves itself. So it begins to form a cloud. It sticks together. That is called condensation. So it goes from evaporation to condensation. The cloud becomes a whole bunch of water droplets, and as it gets too heavy, gravity will pull it back down to the earth in the form of precipitation. It could be rain, it could be snow, but whenever water falls from the sky, it is called precipitation. And then finally it goes back to the rivers, to the lakes, to the oceans, to the puddles, and that is called collection. And then the whole thing starts again. It goes from collection, evaporation, condensation, precipitation, and back to collection. So today I just want to talk about evaporation first. Evaporation is when the sun heats up water in rivers or lakes or the ocean and turns it into vapor or even steam, depending on how hot it is. The water vapor or steam leaves the river, lake, or ocean and goes into the air. This is the transpiration part. It's kind of interesting, but it's not as important for you to remember. This is kind of for older kids. Do plants sweat? Well, sort of. People that's easy for me to say, perspire, sweat, and their plants transpire. Transpiration is the process by which plants lose water out of their leaves. Transpiration gives evaporation a bit of a hand in getting the water vapor back up into the air. Okay, I'm going to go down on this webpage, so if you go, you'll see all the ones we're going to talk about next. And then if you go to sheet number 2, and you can just print it in black and white if you can, and what it has is it has about evaporation. And it has a nice sun for you to color, but the main thing is I want you to read about evaporation, and you can let me know what you think on the discussion page. So that's going to be it for now. Our word is evaporation. Bye, boys and girls.